That could be a problem. Welcome to the show. I just realized something potentially horrible. We've got some pretty good topics this week. There's the R9 Fury Nano.
I hate you. I have had enough problems in the last half an hour.
That could be horrible, actually.
Which I'm blaming Luke for it this week. He loves talking about how the show always starts when I set it up, starts on time when I set it up. And I was like, okay, all right, well then I came in, I was like, okay, Luke, go set up the WAN show. Because I'm working on a build log, and he already finished his video for the day. And he's like, yeah, okay. So I come back 20 minutes before showtime, and I'm like, the WAN show's not set up. And he's like, oh, well, Brandon was ironing the tablecloth. So I couldn't work on it till he was done.
What?
Well, I'm gonna let them be judge, jury, and executioner over here as to whether that is a good enough excuse.
Because the everything was actually in place. It was just off the table
And not configured.
No. To be fair, it actually was configured because of last week, and I plugged everything back in, and your fancy they always work black magic cards obviously didn't work.
Oh, my fancy black magic always they never work.
You told me last week you were just plug everything to black magics. They've been working for a long time now, and this week you said the same thing.
Okay.
And both times it didn't work.
The black magics had been working for a long time. That is true. Okay. But the actual problem we've run into is that our never fail Avermedia cards have stopped working.
I've never had the U3 work.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, the U3's been great for me. No, I've been carrying it around in my backpack.
Or wait, this is the U3, right?
Yeah. Every time I stream on the Blade, I'm using the U3.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been great.
The portable or whatever it's called is the one that always works.
Okay, no, the problem with the U3 for me, it all comes back down to freaking micro USB 3.0. It is the worst connector on earth. And you know what's funny is a lot of people will run around and defend it. They'll say, oh, well, you know what? It's actually rated for X number of insertions. I don't care how many insertions it's rated for. That is meaningless. You know how many
insertions I'm rated for?
Lots. You know how many manufacturers ever implemented micro USB 3 on a phone? One. You know how many times they did it? Once. Because that was enough.
And actually, most people that I know, also known as one person, that has, I thought that was your phone for a second. I was like, whoa.
Oh, I love my phone.
Whoa. The only person I know that has that just actually uses just micro USB normal anyways. Because they lost their cable. It's like, okay.
Speaking of losing your cable, that one actually, if you don't use the cable included in the box, I tried literally every single other micro USB 3 cable that we have in the building when I was having trouble streaming 2 weeks ago, and none of them. It's slightly non-standard.
Yeah,
the contacts are slightly longer, so none of them were deep enough to penetrate. So great topics for today, you guys. Apple's event was this week. They announced a whack ton of stuff. It baffles me that watchOS and Watch got so much stage time.
But Linus, 97% positive feedback rating.
So we'll talk about that more later. Also, speaking of 97% positive feedback, AMD launched their Fury Nano to mixed reviews. What else we got this week?
Russia is working on Jurassic, okay. It says
It's
Jurassic
not really
World,
Jurassic.
but like, not really.
It's like Ice Age in real life, right?
Yeah!
Yeah.
Mammoths. They're trying to bring a mammoth back to life, cross it with an elephant, blah, blah, blah. We'll
What's
talk
his
about that
name? Ray
later.
Romano?
Ray Romano.
Romano, thank you. Well, whatever. He's the voice of the mammoth in Ice Age.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the character's name. Manny's annoying.
Manny.
Yeah, Manny.
Hey, you kind of said it. Man, he's annoying, Manny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey!
You kind of figured it out.
I'm actually closer to the
I'll give you that
stupid
one.
meerkat thing. It's like
Speaking of stupid Nintendo.
Is that a straight hold on. I gotta I gotta interrupt you.
That was
here.
such a good segue.
I know, you did really well,
Thank you.
but
I
I'm ruining
appreciate
it
it.
because
It's
that's
okay.
how I roll. So
That's fine.
is Ice Age a straight ripoff of Lion King?
No?
You got your thing with tusks. You got your silly meerkat. Okay?
Yeah.
You got your big cat. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but the big cat
You
is
got your love interest.
okay.
And you've got a bird. Well, the squirrel flies around a lot. And Zazu actually doesn't fly much.
Yeah.
So, well, no, he flies a fair bit. I mean, there's that musical number, Just Can't Wait to Be King, when he's not being trampled or
And
squished
like
between
in The
butts.
Lion King, they like heal that part of the earth.
They heal the earth.
Kind of, yeah. Because when the Scar or whatever takes over and is like bashing Simba's mom in the face and whatnot,
Yeah.
the earth around Pride Rock kind of dies.
What's her name?
All the plant life
I think her
dies and
name's
stuff.
Nairobi?
I don't remember.
Is that a country?
Maybe.
Hold on. Okay, so there's Simba, Nala, Mufasa.
Nairobi sounds like a mouse
Scar.
from Razor.
What is her name?
Nadala? Why is Nadala coming to mind?
No, that's Microsoft's CEO.
Whoa! Twitch chat's not telling me. I don't know what
Twitch
to
chat
do.
is not helping us.
Sarabi?
Yeah, Sarabi. Thank you. Okay, so what was our last topic? Our last highlight topic.
Nintendo are being butts.
Is
And
that?
Nintendo like the cutest, happiest, just most ignorant company.
I know.
Some
It's like,
speedrunner, they slapped him in the face and everything sucked.
well, they more than slapped him in the face. Like, it's pretty brutal. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Let's run the intro. Maybe that'll work this week.
Nope.
Wow.
Just click back and forth really fast. New guest and intro. And then slow down because you don't want to stop it if it actually works.
What are you talking about?
That worked for me both times last week.
That worked for you.
Yeah, because the problem is it's not actually properly loading. It's not that the file is incorrectly targeted. Mm-hmm. It's just that it's not properly loading.
So
I just gave it multiple attempts to load and it worked.
Okay. So if I just
Make sure
find
it's
it,
the same one.
why are all these intros in here? There should just be one intro.
There.
Here it is. Okay, I'm gonna delete the rest of them. I'm
Okay.
gonna do it now.
That sounds like a productive thing to do on the WAN show.
Yeah. I am using this WAN show airtime to make future WAN show airtime better.
Yeah. Oh. Yay.
My stream just loaded. It's been sitting there open this whole time. Our sponsors this week, One Up Bar.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a new sponsor.
Yeah.
Lynda.com.
Old sponsor.
And Squarespace.
Also old
the oldest sponsor.
I like comfortable sponsors.
Comfortable sponsor.
When Squarespace isn't sponsoring the WAN show, it feels cold.
It's like, that's why I stay with my wife. It's comfortable.
Wow. Maybe it's a good thing that you might be late tonight.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I even tweeted this morning.
Yeah.
I was on my way out the door and my wife's like, "Are you going to be home on time?" And I'm like, "Yeah, as long as WAN show goes okay." And she's like, "Okay, so you won't be home on time." And I'm just like, "Bye, babe. See you later." Get it? Later?
Oh.
Oh, all right. So
Sad pun.
we have a great
Sad
show
beat.
for you today, guys. We're not going to kick off right with the Big Apple event. We're going to jump into... Do we not have a forum link for this one? Oh, that's weird.
Wow, nerds.
That's weird. All right, so Android Authority is going to be our source for... I'm going to move this mouse over here.
There's
I'm gonna
one
move this
of the
computer.
sources is called Android Authority. The other one is called Android Police. Why are the Android coverages so like
Aggressive.
totalitarian? Like I don't understand.
All right, so Google officially rolling out Android Pay starting today with an update that you can grab the APK and get it going right now. So this is their official competitor for Apple Pay. I love the way that they really thought outside the box in terms of the naming
name
for this.
scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't want people to get confused, you know, AP, when we're like, yeah, I'm just going to pay via AP. With my
Phone.
wireless contacts
You know,
list,
it's
whatever the
weird. I was at a store in Seattle and they had like
that is
the
weird.
ability to pay with your phone, but they didn't have a chip reader.
Yeah, no, that's normal. So for our American friends, it's really funny. I was
no idea that was normal.
Yeah, I was at Burger King observing the hilarity of their menu. Did you see that tweet I sent out?
No.
So on their menu, they've got like their soft drinks and their sides, like your French fries, and they have freedom fries, excuse me. And then they've
Really?
got your burgers. And then they have a small part called salad and other, which includes the veggie burger. And I'm just like, only in America is the veggie burger more of a salad than it is a burger. And people were giving me crap about this on Twitter. They're like, well, it says other. And I'm like, yeah, but it's Burger King.
There's a burger category.
There's a burger category.
And the veggie burger isn't in the burger
It's
category.
not. This isn't a steakhouse. This isn't a Japanese restaurant. Salads and other. What was I even talking about?
That's like having a list of sushis and then being like, no, that one's only avocado. So that goes in the other category.
That goes in the other or like rolls, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Because you could put the avocado roll outside of sushi. That would make
You're
perfect
right.
sense.
Yeah. So rolls.
But it's like rolls, and it's like, well, this one is more. It's got like ground beef in it, so it's more of a hamburger. So it's in with like milkshakes and other. No, you can't just make up new rules as you go along.
I'd love for someone to open a like mostly vegetarian restaurant, just so it can be the other way around. So it could be like salads and then like I don't know, something and other. And
so it would have like a chicken salad,
Yeah. Salads, chicken salad.
All right, so it's a gradual rollout starting today. It's not available to all of the US yet. And the Android Pay application is to fully replace the Google Wallet app. So you require pay services 8.1.13, and it's available for anyone running a KitKat 4.4 device or later.
It can support credit and debit cards from American Express, Discover, MasterCard, and Visa.
So basically the
cool.
ones that matter pretty much. Yeah. And while not all banks in the US will be supporting it yet, there are some major ones on board, including some credit unions, and they are expecting more and more to come on board over time. Now, this is something that I bring up in my OnePlus 2 review that is going to be coming out very soon. But you must have an NFC-enabled smartphone. The OnePlus 2 does not support NFC, which is really baffling to me because not only is now Android Pay going to be requiring NFC, I mean, what Android smartphone, other than the very lowest of the lowest tier of the low, hasn't had NFC, not just now, but for years.
Oh, yeah.
Even things like it's actually become amazingly easy for me to switch between mobile devices. Like I used to actually not do as many phone reviews as I do now, simply because it was such a pain in the butt to get all of my information and all of my apps and all my crap transferred. But now, thanks to things like Hangouts and switching over to that instead of using apps that don't cloud sync, thanks to things like the Play Store, making it really easy for you to just grab all the apps that were on your last backup of your previous phone, and the NFC transfer wizard. So all you have to do is take your two phones, put them together, and go enter your passwords one by one for all your accounts. Boom, you're transferred. Pretty much all you have to do is change your icons on your desktop to be in the ideal positions. It's fantastic. Not supported on the OnePlus 2, which is just baffling. What else is there to say about this?
There's interesting things like your credit and debit number isn't sent with your payment.
Yep.
There's a secure code that isn't that code that Google will kind of bounce around and use.
So this is much like Apple Pay.
Yeah, which is actually really cool. I like that personally. And Android Pay makes it easy to check for suspicious activity because you can quickly check your payment history and see where they all happened, which is awesome because credit cards suck for that.
Yep. And the
They
other thing credit cards and cards suck for in general is loyalty programs and rewards. I can't wait to have Apple Pay and Android Pay in Canada for that reason alone. Like my stupid local grocery store, Nestor's Market. Ever even heard of it?
Yeah, well, Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, you're local. Whatever. Most of you...
But like I hadn't.
It's like rinky-dink and stupid. And many grocery stores, Save On Foods still does this. Don't even allow you to just give them your phone number. You actually have to carry the stupid card.
You can have an app on your phone now.
Yes, you can have an app on your phone, but...
Still stupid. And I tried to like make the app on my phone work, and I honestly couldn't.
But the experience
so broken.
of just paying and having it automatically tracked through Android Pay or Apple Pay is much, much better and will allow many of us to have thinner wallets.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to the R9 Nano. This was originally posted on the forum by Zmule. Are you posting this in the chat?
Sure.
All right. Do you have it already, or do you want me to do it?
I don't.
You don't?
I can grab it, though. Just do the thing.
You can grab it?
Yep.
You sure? Just grab it under the table. I don't think they allow that sort of thing on Twitch. So let's go ahead and fire up the old... Well, I've got two mice in front of me, which always trips me the crap out. So I'll fire up the PC Per review done by our buddy over there, Ryan Shrout. This card has generated about as much controversy as any that I can think of over the past little while. Is our video up on Vessel yet?
Vessel, yeah.
It's up on Vessel. Okay, so why don't you summarize your impressions, and then we'll kind of talk about what the rest of the internet thought and whether they agreed with you or not, and go from there.
Okay, so in terms of performance, price per performance, not very good, but I didn't expect that from a card who's like, I'm small and fast, so that's probably fine. Its actual performance was
so you wouldn't
good.
expect my performance to be good?
Well, it depends on what scenario.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Anyways, well, no, I wouldn't expect your performance to be cost effective.
So you would expect me to charge a lot?
But work really well. That's a good enough. That's fine.
Wow.
Anyways,
I hate this show.
So it performed better than what? Our Fury, I think. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I know it traded blows with the 980, which is pretty impressive. The 980 is, I think, about $100 cheaper, but then the 980 is like, what, twice as long, I think? So that's actually not bad. I thought it was a really interesting card because it's just as long as your PCI Express slot. So people that want to make like literally tiny as hell computers would be able to do that because you don't have to make it any longer than your motherboard. One thing I kind of wish they did was make the 8-pin point upwards instead of out of the card, but then there's debate there as well because then you're making it taller instead of longer, and then it's like, okay, well, which one do you want? I kind of want taller, but I think there's no real way to win there because this is something that I actually pointed out to either Brandon when he was doing B-roll or John when Brandon was doing B-roll. But what I was saying was the R9 Fury Nano is actually, about a half an inch or 3/4 of an inch shorter than our 970 Mini. Yeah.
That AMD is really positioning this card against as the equivalent small form factor card. And my comment was, well, hold on a second, because depending on the case configuration, these two could actually end up being the same, or the NVIDIA card could even end up being a little bit better because, like you were saying, the Nano plugs in on the end, and you have to factor in that additional space taken up by the PCI Express power connector, whereas in ASUS's implementation of a Mini 970 has it coming out of the top. And whether this is better or worse for you is ultimately just going to come down to the case that you're putting it in.
Yeah.
And to me, that really is the center of the argument about the R9 Fury Nano is what computer requires this? What was it actually made for? Did AMD run out and make a card that no one was asking for and no one needed? Because if you look at the way that Mini ITX case design has gone over the last, I'd say over the last about 2 to 3 years with things like the N case coming out, things like that Steam Machine prototype that Valve was sending out. They're all designed for a full-fat 10.5-inch NVIDIA graphics card. Like they're all.
That's mainly because that's all there really was. Why would you make a case that can't fit graphics cards?
No, I get it. But here's the other side of that: is the motherboard is only 6 inches wide or whatever, and the graphics card was 10.5 inches. but we were using that other space. That's where we're putting our drives. That's where sometimes we're putting our power supply. So while the R9 Fury Nano, in my mind, is a product that has no place today, what I like about it is that the Fury Nano is the perfect card for the case that I want to exist.
Yeah.
The Linus Edition
And
case.
that's what I'm saying. No one would build a case for it now because it doesn't exist yet.
Exactly. So the one that I want is a case, and I pitched this to Cooler Master, and I give Nate a hard time every time I see him that they've never made it, but I wanted something that really was about the size of like a PS4. Really small. External power brick is okay, but the R9 Fury Nano would be the card if we get rid of the hard drives. So we bail on hard drives altogether. We only use 2.5-inch drives. The R9 Fury Nano would be the card that would actually fit if, and they were so close on this, if they had opted for a blower type design. I'm really, really sketched out by that internal, just scatter the air around type cooler that they went and put on the reference card. So, you know, I think why don't we hear from you guys here? I'm gonna create a straw poll. I want to know R9 Fury Nano. Failure? Success? Cool in theory, but not interested. And of course, turnip. And I'd like you guys to answer pretty honestly here. I really want to hear from you because this is one of those products where AMD is trying to sell it not based on FPS per dollar, which is all they've really chased for a long time now.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell it based on a less tangible value proposition. Like, hey, we made something with great power consumption. Okay, yeah, it might thermal throttle a little bit if you install it in a super tiny case, but quite frankly, what wouldn't? Do you like it? So before we go ahead and jump into the results of that straw poll, I have another one to share with you guys.
They're trying things, and people hammer on them a lot for not trying things, and then they tried something, and people are hammering on them for it.
Yeah.
So, like, I think we kind of need to pick one.
I don't want to hate on the engineer. I mean, I was like right on board when NVIDIA was launching cards like the GTX 590 and cramming two 580s essentially in 6 inches each. I mean, if you really think about it, that's what AMD has done here. They've done the engineering work for a dual GPU card.
And
And then they cut off the back.
Nope.
They cut off the second GPU.
Yeah.
Have they laid the groundwork, perhaps, for a Fury X2? I kind of hope so, because it looks like that's pretty much what they've done. But, you have to respect the engineering that goes into something like that. So does it trip you out that we're wearing the same shirt? 35% of you say yes, 21% of you say no, and 44% of you have thrown away your vote. You know what's really funny about the whole vote for turnip thing?
Yes.
Is those shirts started shipping right around the time that Donald Trump started really making headlines. Oh, no. And every time I see a vote for turnip shirt, when someone tweets it at me or whatever, it really does feel like mocking Trump's presidential campaign.
Where's
Does it not?
ours? Are we not supposed to have some?
We never got samples of that.
Oh.
But then I forgot to order mine this time, and I actually sent Teespring after the campaign was over. I was like, hey, so it's kind of my campaign. Can I still get one? And they actually sent me not one, but 3 mediums. Sorry. So I'm giving one to Austin when he shows up tomorrow.
That makes sense.
And then I don't know what to do with the other one. Maybe next time we have a meetup or something, I'll bring it along, or maybe I won't. Oh, yeah. This is a great topic. Austin lands tomorrow. Oh. So without teasing too much, Austin and I are going to be working on a collab video tomorrow. That's going to be kind of a low-key, small project. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, we are filming.
So not Thursday.
What?
Okay.
Not Thursday.
Good job. Cool. Everything's fine.
Okay. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, we are filming Scrapyard Wars 3. And it is going to be a 3-way between me, Luke, and Austin for your viewing pleasure.
Oh my god, there's gonna be so many jokes about that. Who's gonna be in the middle during the... You guys won't get that till later, but someone's gonna be in the middle for sure at one point in time.
All right,
And
so
it's gonna be great.
let's go ahead and check out the results of our other straw poll
Can't
here.
hope it's me.
You know, I think I lack the hand-eye coordination to play the middle role. I've never been like a great dancer, and I think
I used to be in dance.
you'd have to have like pretty good, you know, rhythm, if you know what I mean. All right.
Oh my god.
So let's go ahead and screen share with me. R9 Fury Nano. Wow. 57% of you, cool in theory, not interested, with another 8% of you, so it's a total of 65% of you saying either not interested or failure, and 16% of you saying success. And the funny thing about those numbers is that if we extrapolate and blend the turnip results proportionally into the other numbers, that's pretty much the NVIDIA to AMD market share.
Yeah.
So is it that AMD fans are interested, or is it that...
Should we do an NVIDIA AMD poll
I'd
to
be
see what
curious.
our audience is?
Yeah.
Because that market share isn't necessarily properly applied to our viewership.
No, it's
So there could be a higher AMD percentage.
it might not represent our community, which is very interesting.
Because that market share is largely what is that? The Steam poll that's based off of?
No, I think that's like reporting data, blah blah blah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
Well,
I
still,
think it's like a real thing.
Still, a lot of those people like say you bought a pre-built, or it's still technically a pre-built if like NCIX builds it for you. So say you bought one of those. Wouldn't more of their systems that they're doing be NVIDIA systems?
Someone like NCIX.
Yeah. Like if they're offering like this is our pre-configured build that you can buy. Are more of those NVIDIA based?
You know, back when I was doing it, generally speaking, we tried to keep it pretty balanced.
Okay.
And not balanced like in terms of market share, proportional market share, but we tried to keep it pretty balanced in that we tried to offer an AMD or an NVIDIA graphics-based system at each sort of tier.
Okay.
I'm not sure how they do it now.
I'm just wondering if there's more spotlight on it. So if someone was just randomly like, oh, I'm going to build the gaming PC.
What I can say is that NVIDIA... What can I say without saying too much? What I'll say is that NVIDIA really has their crap together marketing-wise. So
Yeah.
if there was someone that we were going to collaborate with on like a special edition painted green PC and we wanted to cross-promote and coordinate a marketing campaign with, back then, which is 2.5 years ago, very outdated knowledge.
Someone has a good point. They have both.
Who? Both?
Yeah.
Pick your daily driver rig. Come on, make this easy on us,
And
guys.
he said specifically discrete graphics.
Yeah, I did specifically say discrete graphics. I could make the argument that I'm running Intel graphics on this laptop, but come on.
Yeah.
Come on! Come on!
We need Nikki V.
Yeah, we need Nikki V over here to tell you guys what's up with... No,
Here
we
it
don't.
comes. Here
We
it
do
comes.
not
Yes.
need Nikki V.
Come on! Yes! That was great. Favorite part of WAN Show 2015.
It was better than mine.
Yeah, that's true.
Much better, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so 68% of you are saying NVIDIA, with 28% of you AMD, and 4% of you gaming on the Xbox. So, could we live without 4% of our audience?
Probably.
I think we could.
Yeah. But like this shows a higher percentage.
Just kidding, just
This
kidding.
shows a higher percentage.
We love you all.
So that means that I guess some of the AMD guys weren't as interested in the Nano, but that's not surprising because even though small form factor is getting much more popular lately, it's still not as popular
And
as
I mean,
mid-tier stuff.
you guys can correct me. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but would it be totally unfair for me to say that among the sort of the the higher tier tech enthusiast community. So I'm not just talking the typical average gamer who's going to walk into Best Buy and buy a graphics card. I'm talking the guys who care about this show and us discussing who has more graphics card market share.
Basically what's happening.
That kind of thing. I mean, that's the kind of show you're tuned into. Deal with it.
That's true.
But would it be safe to say that amongst that crowd, there would be more people making a graphics card decision based on something like, well, gee, I'd sure like AMD to survive. Would I be willing to give up 5% FPS, or would I be willing to give up GameStream or CUDA or whatever NVIDIA feature might sway you? Would I be willing to give that up and support AMD to try and get them through the hard times? Because it's hard times over there, guys.
Yeah.
Like, the word on the street is upwards of 20% of their company was just basically bought. So they got a cash infusion out of it, but they no longer own fabs. They no longer own like a freaking whack ton of their company stock. And they just spun off the graphics division as Radeon Graphics Business Unit or something along those lines with...
Let's just make it ATI again. I loved ATI. I don't know why I just did.
Very few of those people are still there.
I know.
I hope you know that.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
It's just an emblem at this point.
I know.
Okay. I also, back in my fanboy days, you know what's funny? I have a lot of people accuse me of being a fanboy.
I had fanboy days.
I had fanboy days. I did. I am no longer a fanboy because
I was an ATI fanboy.
I was an ATI
Other than that,
fanboy.
I didn't really care, but I was an ATI fanboy.
I am so jaded now that everything that comes across my desk is plastic and metal, and if it doesn't impress me, I don't care if the Pope made it. It doesn't matter. But in my fanboy days, this is something I rarely talk about. I was an AMD ATI fanboy. I had AMD processors from
Athlon X2.
Yeah, boy.
Oh,
Actually,
damn, I put those in so many computers.
the Athlon X2 4400 Plus was the most that I ever spent of my own hard-earned money. And I worked hard for that money. I painted houses, okay? That was the most of my hard-earned money that I have ever spent on a single computer component. I spent $750 or $800 on a 4400 Plus on the launch day. Because, yeah,
On launch day.
I went to NCIX Burnaby. Well, first, I called up my sales guy, Mr. Xenon. I called him up, representing NCIX Burnaby, OG. Called up Xenon. I said, Xenon, do you have stock of the 4400 Plus? He goes, yeah, but why would you want that? That's so expensive. He's a good sales guy. He was looking out for my interests, okay? I'm like, Xenon, man, you don't understand. This is a dual core. It's an Athlon 64, but two of them. This is not some hyper-threading nonsense. This is like 2 CPU cores, man. And he's like, okay, I'll put it aside for you. I drove right down there. I picked that sucker up, got myself a new motherboard. Man, that felt good. And it was great. But it was not about the fact that it was made by AMD. It was about the fact that it was an amazing piece of technology. So even in my AMD fan days, when I was rocking the All-in-Wonder 9600 Pro, which I upgraded to an X800 Pro, which I upgraded to an X850 XT, I was a little bit of an upgrade every generation sort of guy back then.
And that's when generations were fast. Did I ever tell you about my story of buying the computer built and then taking it all apart and building it again?
No.
I shopped around for a really long time for deals because I was a kid and the cash flow wasn't high. So I had enough money and like this was basically what I had. There wasn't like a work for another month and then you'll get it. It was like work for another month and you'll have $10 more. Like no, this was it. So I shopped around for a really long time getting all the deals that I could, the best deals that I could, even like trying to negotiate on the phone. And I got one place to finally do it, but they had super wanted to bundle in the pre-build thing, but it was like $25 and it still ended up being cheaper total than anywhere else.
Was that at Attic Computers?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, sure. They did it. I took it home. I took the whole thing apart, put it all back together, and then ran that way.
So I actually bought one of the components for my first.
That's hilarious.
I know, they charged $25 for assembly. They were the only store in that time that was charging $25 for assembly. And let me tell you, I've seen computers they assembled. You got your $25 worth.
That's why I took it apart. Yeah, it was not that great.
My first computer, I actually bought one component at Attic Computers, the hard drive, and I had to make a tough choice for myself. I either was going to get the 120 gig drive with the 2 meg cache, okay, or the 80 gig drive with the 8 meg cache.
Ooh.
They were the same price. Did I want 50% more capacity? Bearing in mind that to me, 80 gigs was like, like my computer literally had like a 600 megabyte hard drive in it at that point. And I think I had like a 900 megabyte D drive or like something obscene. Like I had less than 1.5 gigs of overall storage. I was running a P90, okay? Like it was sad. Or like a 133, whatever. It was some sadness. And just to put that in the proper perspective, I was running a Pentium 1 at a time when my first computer that I built for myself, I bought a 2500 plus Barton core. Okay, so like that was some outdated stuff. I was like, yay, I can play Age of Empires 2 now. Where was I going with this? Right, so I walked out the door with the 120 gig drive and I went, no, 80 gigs is enough. I want the extra cache. I walked back in with the sealed drive. Those bastards charged me a 15% restocking fee.
Oh my God.
On a sealed product.
You did it too?
I did it. I wanted the cash.
Oh,
I wanted the cash. And I paid the cash to get the cash.
Oh my goodness.
What the hell are we even talking about? What is this show today?
We were talking about fanboyism and how we both used to be ATI fans.
Yeah, okay.
Because
right.
I was a pretty hard ATI fan.
Yeah, so
I used to keep all the, like I'd sell the graphics card but keep the box. Because I thought the box art was so cool.
I probably have pictures of my box nook.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've never seen the old house I used to live in.
No.
But out in the boondocks of Maple Ridge, I was the only one who had a room in the basement. Because my older sister is an idiot and didn't take the basement room. I was like, you enjoy your attic, that if you want to come home late at night, you have to walk past mom and dad's room, pull down the ladder.
Oh, wow.
And walk up. She fell out of that attic multiple times, okay? Like, we're talking, you're an idiot. It was boiling hot in the summer. Like, okay, whatever. Anyway, as a second child, I managed to score the basement bedroom.
That's a good move.
The one thing I had to contend with was the TV, okay? And this was back in the days when families only had one TV. And that TV was a CRT TV. And my hearing was pretty sensitive in the high range. So I could hear the scanning gun firing the electrons. And that was pretty obnoxious actually through the wall for me. And my mom was always watching Dennis, what's his stupid name? And he's actually Dennis Miller.
Oh, okay.
Always watching Dennis Miller.
I thought you were like asking Dennis what the name was.
I wouldn't ask Dennis anything. She was always watching Dennis Miller live, and it was late at night, and I was like, Mother, go to bed. Or put the TV somewhere. Anyway, so that was the only issue I had to contend with. So we actually had a downstairs kitchen. The whole downstairs had a separate entrance from the back, and it was set up as a full suite. So both the upstairs and downstairs had access to the laundry room easily, and it had a full downstairs kitchen that we hadn't used in years. So I actually set up my gaming rig in the like bay window equivalent to the bay window upstairs in the dining room.
Yeah.
And I had on the windows, so we had our basement set up, so it was about 3 to 4 feet out of the ground, so you could have natural light in the basement. I had all the windows covered with boxes of motherboards, graphics cards, CPUs, power supplies, the works. It was awesome.
That's cool.
And that was when I was
really
running
cool.
I think every computer geek runs this side business thinking like, I'm going to be the next system builder.
Yeah.
And they buy parts with the like discount at the local store, and then they find friends and relatives. And
I did pretty okay with that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I was good at it.
Yeah.
But so obviously I had more parts, and it's a great way to get games.
Gotta try to sell people cases and fans, man. gotta convince them they need that nicer case and they need all the fans.
But I never sold anyone an expensive cable. Not once.
No. Because there's actual value to a better case and
there is actual value to cooling fans.
Yeah.
There is no value to a fancy HDMI cable.
No.
I'm sorry to all those who make fancy HDMI cables.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about. Why don't we, you know what, why don't we jump right into the Apple event and then we'll do sponsors or something like that. So this was posted by Alex Goes High on the forum. I'm going to go ahead and screen share with you guys. Apple special event. They actually built this auditorium, basically the entire thing. Oh, no.
That's when, like, just, you shouldn't have that much money. Just go away.
They bought, like, they legit straight up bought stadium seating and installed it to do this enormous live event. This is a completely custom screen and all that stuff. And you know what's really funny is the press.
Wow.
Autoplay.
Wow.
Yay. The press that covers Apple products just blows my mind. I'm not going to name any names, but I was just like I was reading up some on some blogs and getting other people's thoughts on some of the stuff before we did WAN show today. And this one blogger who's talking about the event goes on for so long about how much better it was than previous events and how it like restored his faith in Tim Cook's ability to lead the company and how Apple can function without jobs.
I don't understand the religious fanaticism.
And I'm just like, I beg your pardon? Who cares?
Yeah.
Why do we give a shit?
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't understand that side of it.
It comes down to not being a fanboy.
Yeah.
Look at it for what it is. Does it matter to me that this wallet is made I don't even know.
I don't know.
Swiss gear.
I don't know who my wallet is made by, but I know it has like a Neuschwanstein stamp on it. So
No.
like, cool.
What matters is how many cards it holds, how robust it is. Incidentally, this one has held together incredibly well for me. Not that Swiss Gear is, a sponsor or anything, but I figure if I'm going to talk about it and evaluate it, then I might as well say what it is. And like that's it. Does it have a style that appeals to you? Great. It doesn't matter that someone got on stage and told me about it in a really pleasing way. Grow up. Anyway.
Some of the worst presenters, like, okay, people are gonna shoot me in the foot for this, but like,
I think you shoot yourself in the foot. I think people shoot you in the face if they don't like you.
Okay, both. I'll shoot myself in the foot while other people are shooting me in the face. Elon Musk is like, in a traditional sense, not that good of a presenter because he'll pause for very long periods of time, and not because he's like pausing for impact, but because he's pausing because he's formulating what he's gonna say. What are you doing?
This has been driving me crazy all show. It's reflective.
Oh, there you go. And some people insult him for this because they're like, oh, he's slow, he's taking too long. I and many other people think it's because he's just trying to see what he's going to say from a bunch of different angles so that he doesn't say something incorrectly. But like, he's not a traditionally great presenter.
Right.
I like his presenting style because it feels more authentic.
Right.
But he's not like the showman that you got out of Steve Jobs.
Yep.
That doesn't matter at all.
No. You should buy a Tesla car because you think it's a great piece of technology at a fair price.
I can't remember. Some police department is getting a whole bunch of Model S's.
Really?
Idling.
Right.
Makes
that's
so
sick.
much sense.
They will last so much longer. Not to mention they're like
the fuel efficiency.
And they're
wow.
fast.
Yep.
That's very interesting. That would be the first police department.
I don't remember
where
who. Is it in the dock?
If I was on my bike and I saw flashing lights, I would actually have to go, can I outrun this? No, seriously, a Tesla Model S can do almost the same 0 to 60 as my bike.
The acceleration is obscene.
Yeah. Very
this is a
interesting.
police vehicle.
Not that I condone running from the police at all. To be very clear, it's just apparently it was the LAPD. Thank you, Nick.
There we go. Yeah. That's pretty sick. And P85Ds. So that's like the dual motor, like insane ones.
Sick.
Like,
Loving it.
Nuts. Anyways,
all right, so why don't we actually talk about the Apple event for a little bit here. So the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus, how unpredictable was that, are going to be released on September 25th. The 2-year contract rates are $199 for a 16 gig phone. That is such a huge
Why do we even
FU.
still have those?
Thank you. God. That is the question we should all be asking. Apple, the first iPhone had a 16 gig model. That was what, 8 years ago? Are you freaking kidding me?
Like the base model should be that 64 gig one.
It's the difference in price. So let's go way back in time.
Oh, fun.
Let's go to the way back machine. Let's have a look at ncix.com. Back in what would it be, like 2007 or something like that? I have no idea.
I can look up the original launch date of the first iPhone.
Yeah, so let's go back to 2007 and let's see if we can find something in their weekly special. Here, I'll screen share with you guys.
Yeah, 2007, June 29th.
Here we go. All right. So what kind of tech relics will we find?
I love how the site is like the same and the banner style is the same. Like this is honestly probably better than what we're currently dealing with.
No, this is still Tom. Tom was doing the banners back then.
No,
as
I'm
well.
not saying the banner's better. I mean the general layout.
Oh,
like,
well.
This looks actually easier to deal with.
I have nothing to say about that. Okay, so back then, so are we getting 2 gigs of RAM with the iPhone 6S?
Let me see here.
Can you find that out while I go ahead and look at some of this pricing? So back then, 2 gigs of memory cost you $283. Back then, a 24-inch widescreen cost $890.
Oh my.
But what I really want is a 320 gigabyte hard drive.
Is that an original G15?
Yeah, that's the G15.
Oh, if it costs that much, I would buy it now.
I would buy so many of them at $89.25.
Man.
So a 320 gig hard drive costs $130, and it looks like an SSD, doesn't even merit a spot on the front page. Are you kidding me? Huh. Okay. Well, we might actually have to go not quite as far back. Let's try August 2008, shall we?
Apparently 2 gigs of RAM? What?
Apparently it is 2 gigs. Okay, so they finally given us 2 gigs of RAM. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can find an SSD here. OCZ Game Extreme. Jeez. I thought like the X25M or like one of those cheapo stupid, like when did all of that happen? Did that not happen till much later? So is this just a matter of Apple giving us far too much early on and now we don't appreciate the generosity of their 16 gigs of onboard storage? No, let's...
It only has 1 gig? I don't know. I just Googled it. It says that.
Yeah, I think there's still some debate. I don't know if they've actually confirmed it. No, GSM Arena is saying 2 gigs of RAM. I've seen a lot of rumors that it's 2 gigs of RAM, so I would actually believe that. This is taking way longer than I had hoped. There we go. Okay. So in 2009.
Wow.
2000, no. What is this? Damn it. Whatever. So at this point in time, you could get 64 gigs of SSD storage for $240. Since that time, $240. Can you run the numbers on this? Since that time,
I have no idea what I'm doing.
So 60. So dollars gigs per dollar, dollars per gig. So 240 divided by 64.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you can buy a 2 terabyte Samsung drive.
$375.
All right, so that's $3.75 a gig. All right, so you can buy a 2 terabyte Samsung drive. You know what? Let's look at the 1 terabyte. I think that's a better cost per gig. That's about the same actually. So $480 for 1,024 or 1,000, whatever. Rough numbers here.
2. So
Wait,
370.
No,
to 2.
you ran the numbers the other way.
What?
It's 50 cents a gig. It's not 2. It's 2 gigs per dollar. Whatever. The point is So what was it, 3.75? This is not a math show, okay?
To be honest, you told me in that order.
So it has
I wasn't sure what I was
fallen.
doing, so I was looking for memory.
It is 1/7 the price today. Apple could literally be giving us 7 times the storage of the original iPhone at the same price as they would have had to pay at that time. And I know that doesn't factor in changing market conditions and blah, 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 blah. So let's say 5 times. 128 gigs should be baseline today. 64 gigs should be like, that's the value model. But a premium device like an iPhone should not even have a 16 gig model. It's embarrassing. So what else do we have to say about it?
So the 2 gigabyte spec for memory on the 6S and 6 is based off of a Apple employee in a Reddit comment.
Oh, okay. So basically unsubstantiated.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So let's talk the rest of it. So you pay another $100, you get 64 gigs. At least they've done away with the 32 gig model, although that $199 one should be 32 gigs. But I think we all know the reason they're doing this is because they don't want you buying that one, because 16 gigs really isn't enough anymore. And you get 128 gigs for another $100 over that. The 6S Plus is basically $100 more across the board for the slightly bigger screen, and you get some additional benefits. So the 6S Plus, once again, is the only one to feature optical image stabilization. So the 6S does not have that particular feature. They're both using the new 64-bit, or actually I don't think it is new, is it? Whatever, it's an A9 chip, not the A9 Plus that we're gonna see in the new iPad Pro. So it's an A9 chip with an M9 Motion coprocessor. They finally shoot 4K video. Finally. With that said, I don't necessarily think that Apple's been behind the 8 ball on the whole 4K video thing.
Yeah. That's actually a problem.
What is that?
That's the neighbors.
Do you mind going and asking them, like, really nicely to turn it down a bit?
Yeah, you know what it is? They're in their boat.
They're in their boat.
I saw them yesterday sitting in their
They're way too
speedboat.
baller.
They're sitting in the speedboat.
Why don't they sit in a speedboat in the water?
Why don't they take the speedboat out? Yeah. I don't know.
It's beautiful today. So it seems okay now.
Okay.
Snoop Dogg turned the beat down for us.
Okay, so anyway, sorry. So the 6S Plus, once again, is the only one that features optical image stabilization, which is kind of a bummer for people with small hands. And they both now have 3D touch. Ooh. Or Force Touch by another name. Actually, this same Apple blogger, and I'm probably revealing too much now. If that person is watching, which I'm sure they're not, they're going to know who I'm talking about. But compared 3D Touch to shortcuts on a keyboard. No, it's a right click! Only an Apple user would not recognize this as a right click. You access hidden menus, okay?
That's brutal.
That's not a keyboard shortcut. That's a right click. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Kind of arguably a mouse shortcut.
I'm sorry you've gone without right click for so many years. Welcome to 2015. What else do I have to say here? The FaceTime cameras, 5 megapixels. There's a new color, rose gold. I will be doing an iPhone 6S review. I have requested that D-Brand send me over the rose gold model, so that is definitely happening.
What would you call this? It's not metal, so I don't know.
I would call this like copper. I'd call that like a copper color.
Not rose goldy?
Yeah, I'd call that copper.
So is rose gold more gold colored?
Rose gold? No, it's pink.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just a fancy name for pink.
Oh.
Yeah, I want the pink one. So the last thing is they feature their Taptic engine now. So basically it's way better vibration, and that's what enables them to do things like their 3D touch. And then the shape of the iPhone, I really don't think you want to.
You only got to get the 1 point. That's like.
So the iPad Pro is coming. 32 gigs is $799. Woo! Wow.
a little rough.
128 gigs is $949, and the 128 gig with cellular data is over $1,000. It features a 12.9-inch Retina display, although that is one high-resolution 5.6 megapixel display. It features 10 hours of battery life, an 8-megapixel iSight camera, although this is going to be a whole new level of what are they called? Pad holes?
Pad holes,
Yeah. I mean,
People taking a photo with an iPad.
walking around with a 13-inch device,
Someone at PAX Prime.
that is basically this, okay?
Someone at PAX Prime wanted to take a selfie with me with an iPad and apologized probably like 5 times.
And
I'm
he,
sorry.
And he
sorry.
was right
I'm
to
sorry.
do so. Right to do so. It features their 3rd generation 64-bit A9X chip. It's got AC wireless with MIMO, blah, 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 blah. Touch ID is a nice thing to have.
The keyboard accessory.
Yeah, the keyboard accessory is straight out of Microsoft's playbook.
Oh my goodness. And the amazing thing with that is someone made a webcomic. I retweeted this, so you can check that out if you're interested. But someone made a webcomic basically going, like people were hammering on Microsoft for their touch cover kind of thing. And then I think the webcomic said that like, oh, you guys say it's stupid now, but you'll have it in 3 years. And I think it's exactly 3 years later, and they now have it. Here we go. Yeah.
Here we go. So the credit here goes to Joel Watson. Here we go. So we've got Steve Ballmer no longer in the picture. We call it the Surface. Boo! Your iPad sucks. It's not an iPad. It's a Surface. Suck my Surface, the surface of my, well, that's the D word, but anyway, so he's like, blah, 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 it's got a kickstand, your iPad still sucks. And then this is so funny, is like WWDC 2015, so he's off by like, what, 6 months?
Yeah.
We call it the Smart Cover Touch, and we think you're going to love it.
You invented that. Yes, we did.
Fan-freaking-tastic. I love it. With that said, I'm not going to give Apple too much crap about,
I just think the comic's funny.
yeah, copying the idea of folding keyboard or whatever. It's not like these haven't existed for an awful long time.
No. I just thought the comic was funny. Yeah, they've kind of stolen crap before, obviously.
Yeah.
But to be fair, all of these big companies have. Look at how Microsoft started.
And Microsoft didn't invent the idea of a low-profile frickin' folding keyboard anyway. It's not like anyone can really take credit for that at this point anyhow. Well, someone can, but it won't be Microsoft and it won't be Apple. It's just funny that the timing is so great and the reaction from people is so funny. And Microsoft doesn't seem to mind. They're going to be bringing the full Office support to the iPad Pro. And speaking of support for things that Apple, speaking of support for things that Apple has traditionally not supported, they're finally giving us a stylus, the Pencil.
Yeah.
So it's going to have all the usual stylus
Tilt
stuff.
and pressure.
Tilt, pressure. It's $100, which is.
That's actually pretty rough.
Wow, that is the Apple tax on a whole other level. But it really feels like this is Apple in a nutshell. Many bloggers, and the stylus was the one, I'm not calling it a pencil. The stylus is the one that a lot of people, I think, are missing the point of. The stylus, to me, summarizes what Apple is in a nutshell. And I've seen a lot of people focusing on the professional applications of a tool like the Apple Pencil, their stylus, saying, okay, well, this turns the iPad Pro into a truly professional tool, to which I say codswallop. It turns the iPad Pro...
Word.
What?
Codswallop.
That's a word.
It's just... Yeah, it is. Yes.
Okay, so what it turns the iPad Pro into is Apple's typical MO, is convincing casuals that they're professionals.
Yeah.
Because it's not a professional tool. You know what a professional tool is? Is the Wacom Windows tablet. Yeah. That is a professional tool. You know what a professional tool is? Sort of. The Surface Pro 2. Before Microsoft did away with the proper digitizer in the screen. Those are professional tools. Professional tools are ones that are able to run the full version of Adobe's Creative Suite And the iPad Pro could have been a cool product, but it's running iOS. So ultimately, it's a doodle pad for cool kids.
To be fair, Microsoft
and
is
older
bringing full
people.
support for Office to the iPad Pro, and Adobe is going to be supporting some Typekit compatible apps, though it's not clear what. It could be Illustrator.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see, because I've called Apple products stupid before, and I've been proven that people will buy it. I've been proven. I was going to say I've been proven wrong, and I changed mid-sentence because I still don't think I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So I've been proven that, I still think this is kind of funny, because it's almost like we've all admitted now that the iPad was dumb. The iPad 1, I called it dumb. A lot of people called it dumb. I called it, and I don't know if anyone else called it this, but I called it the uncarryable device, because it's too big for a pocket and too small to justify carrying around a backpack. If I'm going to carry a backpack, I might as well put something useful in it.
Like this, which can do both.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
And not that convertibles existed at the time, but that didn't change the fact that
They kind of did.
They were getting there. It didn't change the fact that the iPad 1 was the uncarryable device. It's the device that makes no sense. There's nowhere to put it if I'm not holding it. And we've all acknowledged this now. The iPad mini is here. I never touch my full-size iPad 2 anymore.
Yeah.
Not because Apple hasn't done a great job of supporting it, not because it doesn't still run nice and snappy and run all the apps I need, but because it's just big and bulky and stupid. If I want something this big, I'll get a laptop.
Yeah.
Not to mention that iPad full sizes are so expensive that you might as well pick up something with a keyboard on it.
I used your iPad 2 for a long time, and it was great, but the only reason why it was great was because I gave my laptop to my dad, and point two is it was a glorified Hearthstone machine. That was it. The only thing I did on it was play Hearthstone. So if you want to pay like a gratuitous amount of money to play Hearthstone, I mean, go ahead.
There was some other stuff, Apple Watch and watchOS. Apple is claiming an incredible 97% customer satisfaction. Did they factor me in? Was I included in this survey?
Maybe you were the entire 3%.
'Cause I straight
didn't
up
survey that many people.
I straight up spent, what was it, like $800 or whatever on an Apple Watch to do my review. If you guys think for a second that if I spend money on a review device and I like it, if you think I'm not going to keep using it, you got another thing coming. That thing sits on a shelf in a box because not I nor anyone else at Linus Media Group has expressed any interest in using it on a day-to-day basis. It's that bad. And I even wear a smartwatch. Ed wears a smartwatch. Do we have any iPhone users, though? Yes, Dennis. But then Dennis is...
Maybe Dennis doesn't know what it is.
Dennis is too shy.
Where's Dennis?
Oh, poor Dennis. What else we got here? There's a new Apple TV or something. Do people still watch TV?
One kind of... But you can watch Netflix through it.
Right, but do you need
One
to spend
kinda nice thing that it
150...
has
Hold
is
on,
that
hold on.
Siri is integrated with it, and you can search Netflix with Siri, which Android TV cannot do.
Does it even support 4K yet?
I don't know.
I'm
That's a
gonna
good
check.
question. I have no idea.
Not that it actually matters.
You can buy things through it.
Specs,
Which is
no 4K video streaming support for
probably
upcoming. That's a
horrible.
rumor. Okay, so here's the thing. Yes, it's a Netflix box, which is great. Siri support, A+ for that. But how much is a Shield console?
Same price, I think.
Yeah, I think it's $199. Buy now. Let's look this up. I can't remember. You reviewed that. You're supposed to know. Yeah, $199 for a Shield console.
I said same price, I think. Come on.
It comes with a game controller. It streams at 4K. It has all this stuff that Apple is claiming is amazing, like voice control. It comes with a sleek little aluminum remote. And it's a pretty sexy looking piece of hardware.
I think,
So,
see here.
and it does stream at 4K, which is kind of cool. And it has support for NVIDIA Game Stream if you're into that kind of thing. And I know that not everyone plays games, but why get less if you don't have to? That was the other thing, is that now I'm really narrowing down what blogger I was reading. Is like he figured the Apple TV refresh was the most amazing thing from the event. And I was like, are you for real, bro? It's like, yeah, it's a whole new way of experiencing live events, some baseball demonstration or something.
What?
Like, okay, maybe I'm a Philistine, but I personally didn't think that the baseball game experience was bad before. I thought it was just fine.
And the thing that I don't understand is like, okay, I didn't see this part of the presentation, so
I missed it too.
I don't know what the baseball example was, but if it was like Twitter integration and stuff, I don't want to tweet on my TV. I'm gonna have my phone in my pocket. I'll just tweet there. Does that make me old? I don't know. But,
all
like,
right.
Twitter's perfectly fine in my pocket.
So we should probably jump into our sponsor spots. We've completely neglected them.
Lynda.com.
Lynda.com. Lynda.com/WAN show for a 10-day free trial. Okay, moving on. Just kidding. I'll
On
tell you about
Lynda.com,
Lynda.com.
you can learn how to use real Adobe applications instead of doing it on your iPad, which they'll probably also be able to teach you to do once it comes out.
Yeah, that's actually Lynda.com has lots of great tutorials for all kinds of stuff. We're actually legitimately not mocking them, not because they're a sponsor, but because it's a good service that we've had multiple people who work here now learn things that they do at their jobs now on lynda.com. So things like video editing, things like programming, things like business skills, learning to use Office applications. And it's not just for young tech-savvy people. Like, let's say, for example, you've got a middle-aged relative who's had trouble, holding down a job and, lacks some of the skills that our generation takes for granted. Like, we had typing class, which is actually going to be funny, not only to our parents who are like, what, a class to computer it? I'll just use a pen and paper. But also funny to our kids who are going to be like, what, they had to teach you that? Did you go to the special school, Dad? But they actually have like how to use Office applications and things like that. So check it out, lynda.com/WAN show. Plans start at only $25 a month and you get 10 days.
Someone in chat's like, I have typing class.
All you can eat for free. Our next sponsor today, Squarespace.com, longtime supporter of the show, and we're a longtime supporter of what those guys are doing over there. No.
Build it beautiful.
It starts at only $8 a month, depending on what kind of a site you want to build, and their templates, of which they have many, are suitable for building a company website, a store, a blog, a portfolio, just about anything you can imagine you can build on Squarespace. And if you can't figure out how to do it, they've got 24/7 tech support, which you can contact by live chat or email.
Last week I was saying one of our employees at Linus Media Group, his wife actually set up a Squarespace site.
Okay, well, hold on. That narrows it down a fair bit because it wasn't me, so it must have been John.
No.
What?
To-be wife.
Who else is married?
Maybe don't say who it is.
Wait, who's engaged?
To-be wife, yeah.
What?
How do you not know that?
I don't know this.
Wow, rough. Anyways, that person's wife built a whole website about their wedding that has like countdown timers and an RSVP fields. And he's going to figure it out. Anyways, it has a place where you can RSVP. There's all the details. There's a countdown timer. There's all this stuff. There's like a cool photo section, like how it all started. And there's like his side and her side, and it's all cute and whatever. And she did it all by herself because the template system and Squarespace is just that easy, which is fantastic. When you go sign up on squarespace.com, make sure you use the offer code Linus, which I hope she did, to get 10% off of your first purchase. And if you get a year at a time, you get your domain for free, which is what I'm pretty sure she did, because that just makes sense. Hi, are you leaving? Yeah. Bye, Justin. Anyways, the next one is, why is it not in here? Is One Up Box. So this is a new sponsor for the show. Hopefully it's the right side up. There we go. This is a new sponsor for the show. This is the first time we've had it. The box will always include a t-shirt. The rest of the items will vary. It's a subscription box. I just opened mine and was going to do it like properly.
Oh, do I have one too?
No, I said my knife.
Oh, I thought you meant, did they not send us both a box? That's okay, we can open it together.
I don't think so. Give me a second. It sounds like Dennis is literally dying.
Can I see your knife?
Yes.
That's nice, I like it.
Thank you.
Cricket.
Mass drop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
CRKT, not cricket. Dennis, what are you doing? Oh, wow.
Can you stop lifting him?
Is it the after party?
No.
Are you still live?
Yeah, we're still live.
Oh, you guys?
No! Put him down!
It's a Dragon Ball.
Oh.
I'll just make a cameo.
So in One Up Box, you don't get a Dennis, unfortunately.
Yeah, there will be no Dennis's included in your one-up box. What else we got in here? So the theme this week is, I think this month is pixels.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, sick! There's like an adorable Wolverine.
I think this month is combat.
Oh, maybe that's. Oops! Did I already fixed it. This month is combat. Oh, check out the adorable Wolverine. Look, his head moves.
It's a Pokeball wristband.
He can do that. Wow, I actually am the only one who works here who wears wristbands.
Oh.
Yeah! No, it's okay. You can have it.
It's a medium shirt.
Oh no,
so
okay, I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna take
probably.
it.
Oh no way.
What you got?
Brandon, you're right here. Okay, so Brandon's gonna snipe this shirt. Like 100% Brandon's gonna snipe this shirt.
Oh, no way,
There's Link
Wind Waker.
and there's Splatoon. That's what that's from. It's a squid from Splatoon.
Sick.
So Brandon's
That's
gonna
actually-
snipe the crap out of that.
That's actually not bad.
Unless
All right, take it, Brandon.
boom,
I
there
got
we
the
go.
I got the Pokemon thing. What else is in here? I didn't see this yet.
There's
Oh,
like
the
a
stress
little
ball.
panda Deadpool, which is like a patch which you can iron onto something.
Oh, and then there's a pin that says you collected the August. Sorry, the theme was combat. There you go.
Smash Brothers sticker.
Nice.
That's cool. This is pretty sick.
Not
I
too
like
shabby.
Nintendo stuff, so
Oh,
it kinda
look.
won me over pretty
This
quick.
is great. It's a key for all the things. Catch them all sweatband. Wear it to your battles to ensure victory.
Which, like, with the new Pokemon app coming out, have you seen that?
Oh, yes.
Oh my God,
okay.
that's cool.
Okay, so that actually. Oh, right. So, sorry, guys. It's pricing. Here we go. So it's $13 plus shipping in the U.S. and $26.95 with shipping included outside of the U.S. That's actually pretty good for international deals.
That's really cool.
September's theme was Pixels, and then this one is apparently Combat. You can get $3 off your first month subscription by using coupon code AWESOME. So head over to oneupbox.co/1EMJD1D. Yes, I found out.
Sure, it's awesome.
That's actually pretty sick.
I love this, and it fits so well.
There we go. Endorsement.
Endorsement. Yeah, according to the
Mini
FTC
Wolverine likes
guidelines,
it
we have to disclose that we were given a free 1UP box, and they are a sponsor of the show. So, but that doesn't change how cool this Pokemon. You know what? I'm gonna let you have it because I actually have the world's most rockin' wristbands already. I have the very limited edition Razor ones.
Oh,
That came
yeah.
that came in the the press only kit for some exclusive high end product. So I think there's probably maybe a couple dozen of them that exist on Earth, and I have a matching pair of them.
Sick.
So I'll keep rocking those. And not only that, but I sweat so copiously that anything with white on it will be yellow within 5 minutes of me on a badminton court.
That's awesome. Did you go over all the stuff about the box?
What about the box?
Head over to 1UP.
Yeah, I covered that. Okay, so Pokemon GO announced for iOS and Android. This was posted by Skywake on the forum. This looks absolutely
Oh my
bananas.
God.
And our source for this is going to be our good friends over at Techno Buffalo. Excuse me.
Wow.
Pokemon GO has been announced by the Pokemon Company and Nintendo. It's a mobile title
good.
that's being developed by Niantic, separate from Google, by the way, now. The same folks that made Ingress, a game of similar ilk. This sounds bananas, okay?
So stoked.
So there is a dedicated wearable accessory, okay, that I think it buzzes when there's Pokemon nearby as you're out in the regular world, okay? It's a smartphone game that you actually play by going outside and catching Pokemon.
I love Ingress, but one of my big complaints about Ingress is where I live, it's basically not playable because you need to have an interesting landmark, and a suburban house isn't an interesting landmark, so there's none of them. So if I lived in Vancouver, it would be great. There's stuff all over the place. That's cool. I could play all the time. I love Ingress. It would be super awesome. I would literally go out just to play Ingress. And I have gone down to Vancouver just to play Ingress before because I really like the game. This means they're in the wild. So I could go hike somewhere and find Pokemon. I could just walk around my city and find Pokemon. I
And
could do
possibly very rare Pokemon. Because
Yes.
while hiking is a popular pastime, I think the Venn diagram overlap between people who hike as a pastime and people who play real-world Pokemon is probably fairly small.
Hopefully, because I want to get them rares. So hopefully.
This looks freaking
I'm
awesome.
gonna go ham on this. It's gonna be ridiculous. You have no. My brother sent me this, and I was like, I'm done.
I know
I'm done.
every idea. I have all the ideas. I have all the. What was the thing that I was in your head about earlier this
Assassin's
week?
Creed
Right,
stuff.
right. He shows me this awesome Aperture Science hoodie, like rain jacket, like really nice jacket that he bought after seeing them at PAX.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm like, how much did you pay for it? $80?
No.
No, it was more than $80. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't wear your Assassin's Creed stuff anymore anyway. And he's like, I literally threw it out.
All my Assassin's Creed stuff is gone.
And he had really nice Assassin's Creed stuff.
I did.
Like-
I kept the Assassin's Creed 4 one.
Okay.
I kept that one because that was a good.
That was the
game.
one your mom got for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And like my mom got me a hoodie for the release of Assassin's Creed 3. So unfortunately for her poor soul, she didn't know that Assassin's Creed 3 was one of the worst games that's ever been made, in my opinion, which is probably
Ouch.
a little rough. But I hate that game with a passion, as if you can't tell. And like I thought it was going to be great. I bought the collector's edition and everything, which also doesn't exist in my house anymore. It's the only collector's edition I've ever thrown away.
Wow.
I didn't want anyone else to own it.
Wow. Anyway,
So, yeah.
a couple more details about Pokemon Go. It'll be released in 2016, and so the optional device, this is so cool, will be connected to your smartphone using Bluetooth and will flash its LED and vibrate to notify players about nearby Pokemon. Now,
So cool.
imagine this: augmented reality, real-world Pokemon.
I know. I tweeted that out, and everyone was like, HoloLens, 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 HoloLens. Oh, I know. Because the trailer, they have Pokeballs and they're throwing them, and like the Pokemon are there and stuff. And I'm like, this obviously isn't going to be how
Gonna
it
be
plays.
sick!
But eventually, maybe.
What else we got here? Jurassic World becoming a reality, except totally not Jurassic, but actually
Yeah.
the
and
woolly
not,
mammoths
it
or
super
something.
won't be called Jurassic World at
Yeah,
all.
at all,
So
because
it
I'm
literally has nothing to do with
sure
it.
it'd be all the trademark issues.
But, you know.
But anyway, scientists are looking to clone mammoths. You know what's funny? I think this is a picture from a Vancouver mammoth exhibit. Where is this? Is this in Victoria? Yeah, there it is. Woolly mammoth in the Royal BC Museum in Victoria. That's funny. I did retain something from that grade 7 class trip.
That's awesome.
That is hilarious. Um,
Yeah, that wasn't my mom's fault. She asked me what I might want for that Christmas, and I said that thing, and she got it.
are you back on that topic?
No,
I
a
thought we
bunch
were
of people
talking
in the
about woolly
chat
mammoths.
are like, blah, blah, blah.
But you should probably introduce what the crap you're talking about.
Anyways.
Damn it, Luke! How many times have you co-hosted this show?
You were talking about the... Oh, yeah, that's true. Because I guess the archive viewers wouldn't see it. Anyways.
I guess the actual vast majority of the viewers of the show.
Like a huge percentage. Anyways, there's a Russian team that has a woolly mammoth sample named Yuka, which is a 39,000-pound woolly mammoth in their possession, and they're going to use that to
Cross-link DNA with a
with an
modern
elephant. Yeah,
to give birth to...
an animal that resembles a mammoth. So it won't actually be a mammoth.
Now, to be clear, this is a technique that has been somewhat successful.
Yeah.
Zebrafish and jellyfish have already been successfully cross-linked to make glowing fish, but these are much simpler creatures, much smaller creatures, and everything is more difficult
Imagine
with a mammal.
an elephant giving birth to a mammoth and just being like, what?
Yeah.
How? Because they're pretty smart.
What just happened to my birth hole? Speaking of birth holes, Amazon is giving birth to a $50 tablet now that they've given up on selling you a more expensive device that exists solely for the purpose of driving you to buy Amazon products and services.
Just absurd.
So they have finally figured out, if we're going to cram Amazon up everyone's birth hole with these devices, we better be basically giving them away. Thank you, Amazon, for finally cluing in to that.
Yes.
So this new device will have a 6-inch screen and will be half the price of the cheapest Fire tablet. It is intended to be a simple and effectively disposable device for straightforward tasks like streaming video at home and shopping on Amazon.com. At least they're being honest. Yeah, I mean, the thing about this is that this can only really be successful if it's competitive with the other, like, $50 7-inch class tablets that already exist, from, like, cheapo brands like RCA. You know what's really funny is this was an example from the Wall Street Journal article here, including brands unfamiliar to many Americans like RCA.
Yeah.
What is not familiar about RCA?
The other ones, sure.
Yeah, like
super know RCA,
Ematic
though.
and Aries.
Yeah.
But RCA must be the best known brand that has never managed to make the transition to becoming somewhat premium. They always have been, and seemingly always will be, cheap junk. Like,
If that's
no,
their
seriously.
thing, that's their thing.
No, look at brands like Vizio, where they came on the market as like, we're the cheapest thing. And now, like, there's legit, like, premium, really good Vizio products. Look at Samsung. Samsung was cheap crap at the beginning.
Yeah.
In fact, pretty much every time they expand into a new category, Samsung is cheap crap all over again. Until they figure it out and get better at it.
It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be countless other examples. Like,
Someone in the chat's like, everything has RCA.
yeah. Like, how many people? Oh, no, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
No, RCA, the brand that made, like, really bad CD Walkman wannabes.
Yeah.
Oh, man, they were awful. Maybe they're just not old enough to remember RCA.
That could be a thing. Because for, like, Radio Shack and stuff, it doesn't really
Yeah, poor
exist
Radio Shack.
anymore.
What else do we have? Oh, Nintendo's going after speedrunners. Nintendo,
This is so trash.
can you be more cool?
And, like, brutalizing speedrunners.
Ramamata Taz or something like that is the OP on the forum, and the article here is from
Where are you sharing it from?
geeksnack.com. But this is just, okay.
So the guy, why Nintendo was mad is because the dude, well, why they were this mad was because the dude wasn't just straight up playing. What was going on was their reasoning, where is it? Sorry, reasoning was he was using tool-assisted hacks or hacked ROMs of Super Mario, and they slammed him with multiple copyright strikes. They took off, I think, 80% of his content that was removed from YouTube. Basically, they super wrecked his channel and left a mark with the copyright strikes.
And it's Pangaea Panga, by the way. So most famous probably for that impossible level. Like, this guy did some, like, really cool stuff. And yes, Nintendo has established that it is illegal to use a ROM even if you own a legitimate copy of the game. But come on. Just don't be a jerk about it.
Yeah, this is pretty brutal. There's
And
no reason to do that.
the letter that they wrote to him, they contacted him directly and wrote a letter about what they were doing, is just, it made my stomach turn just reading it. I'll go ahead and I'll quote some of it. As the owner of the copyright in the games Mario Kart 8, Super Mario World, and Pokémon, Nintendo has the exclusive right to perform the games publicly or to make derivative works based on the games. By making a derivative work using Nintendo's intellectual property and then displaying Nintendo's intellectual property on your YouTube channel, you have violated Nintendo's exclusive rights. Nintendo understands that its fans are the reason for its success. Excuse me? Do you?
No, you don't.
Do you actually?
No.
Because I don't think you do. I don't think understand means what you think it means. I don't think fans means what you think it means. We actually were talking to Vessel recently about what's happening with some of our content getting pulled and then posted onto YouTube during our exclusivity period and stuff like that. And they kind of asked us, well, do you want to go with an automated system so that you guys are claiming monetization or pulling down content that features your videos? I said, no, of course not. So much.
Because there's a lot of really cool derivative works based on our videos.
That's
that are on
right.
YouTube. Yeah.
I love it when people put together like
montages and stuff.
Yeah, like that great video of the Shia LaBeouf green screen
Yes,
of
that
him
was
saying,
so good.
just do it, and me saying, don't do it. Do you have any idea how much it warms my heart to see people taking what we've created and turning it into something cool? Like, obviously, if someone creates something, grossly offensive or illegal or whatever else, we're not going to be cool with that. But I'm just going to see if I can find that video because it's so funny. Dang it, I can't find.
Might be kind of hard.
What was it called? Was it called R9 Fury or something? Linus. I wish I could find it. Anyway, it was really funny. And I don't remember where I was going with that anymore.
I'll watch Twitch chat.
Yeah, so as long as they're not doing something totally inappropriate, we love that kind of stuff because that's how you guys can communicate back to us in the same medium that we use to communicate to you. This is the language we're speaking. So it's just, sorry, I'll read more of the letter, but it's just going to make me more upset as I go. And, this kills me. They are the reason for its success, and we are always happy to see people share their passion for Nintendo's games.
No, you're not.
Well, maybe you could express your happiness in a way that's not legal action against someone.
Seriously, once.
At the same time, Nintendo's intellectual property constitutes its most valuable assets, and the unauthorized use of these assets jeopardizes Nintendo's rights. Because of this, we ask that you please remove the video in question, except that they didn't ask, they just had it removed, and confirm that you will not post any videos using unauthorized software or copies of games, distribute or continue work on the modification, or take any other steps that would infringe Nintendo's rights. They referred him to the Nintendo's Creators Program, which is gross, by the way, and ridiculous, through which Nintendo takes a cut listed as 30% for channels and 40% for videos of ad revenues generated by videos featuring Nintendo games if he wanted to continue his fan engagement on YouTube. They charge their fans to engage with them. That's disgusting.
Really, 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 really brutal. Especially because, how much money are they making off of Super Mario World? And I mean, that one game.
And how many people have the technical savvy and know-how
to do that,
to rip into ROMs and create new speedrunning paths or do some of the really entertaining stuff to watch that millions of people are watching and going, oh, cool, I remember that game, and dusting off their Nintendo.
A lot of speedrunning stuff is for charity and stuff.
And it's just for entertainment.
Isn't Games Done Quick, isn't that whole thing a charity event? Yeah, Taryn said from the background, Games Done Quick is a charity event. What are you guys doing? Don't go after a charity event.
So, yeah, basically, Nintendo, that was a total asshole move, period. And I think that pretty much does it for the show. Thanks for watching, guys. And, wow, we should really try to end on a happy note, because I'm, super mad right now.
What do you think about Mondo Burrito?
I actually truly enjoy Mondo Burrito.
Yeah.
I could use a
hungry are
Mondo
you right
Burrito
now?
right now. I'm really hungry.
Yeah, me too. Positive note, hunger.
Or something.
I tried.
See you guys next week.
Didn't work.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
The WAN show. We tried. You have to do the intro thing. There you go. Almost. Oh. That's awkward.